It's that time, post VGM awesome retro generator. Time now being 15 or 16 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're joined in the studio by Boomstick and Crofty, as well as Co-Prez John O'D and Super Co-Prez, Co-Prez, special guest Brian Phoenix. You know Brian?
Yeah.
AKA Ryan Walker. Boomstick, how's it going?
Really well. Yeah, it's good.
I sense this is a bit of a twist on this one today.
Yeah. This is a really interesting documentary series that is extremely powerful and potentially very moving and scary.
In what way?
Well, it's kind of an analysis of our relationship with machines, which I thought was really cool and probably the right kind of crowd to to think and mull this over with. And how we place ourselves in society, like whether we think ourselves as individuals, a bit like Crofty's individual lone characters, lone wolves, or whether we see ourselves in community and connected and networked.
Okay, so is this a series that is on now or has been on recently? Or
It was on last year by the BBC, and it was excellent. I totally missed it. It sounds like Crofty caught it, but
okay, good.
I missed it and only seen it recently, and it's fantastic.
Okay, explain, elaborate, hit me.
Okay, it's called, well, the title's extremely long, and I always get it wrong. But it's called All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace.
Okay.
Which is quite it's lifted from a poem, that particular title, and it's each part of this 3-part documentary describes different ideologies, I suppose, of how you might see yourself in society. So the first one being a sort of individualism. You know, you're give me an example, Chris, that's not revealing and not on your list.
Agent 47.
Agent
47.
Agent 47.
Example.
Okay, you're Agent 47's, who is essentially a character who looks out for yourself. And this documentary, particularly part 1, explores that idea that you only exist to look after yourself, and your only real goal is to find your own happiness. And then the second one
Sounds very deep.
It's extremely deep. The second one explores the idea that rather than any sort of hierarchy of power or introvertedness, it's all about the community and making the world work as a system, as like people connected by the internet, for example, or by smaller communities of gamers who like particular games. Like everything exists as structures, interconnected, and you can't exist independently seeking your own happiness, because it's not what reality really is. And then the third one is an attempt to explain why people do good things, basically.
That's a whole show in itself.
And why you like try and approach what might explain that people going out of their way to help others, in sort of against this individualism idea. Yeah.
Okay. Is it actually is this a documentary, or is it like it is a fictional narrative or something? Or?
No, it's constructed almost entirely of archive footage from all over the place. There's some really horrific footage in there. There's beautiful footage in there. It's really weird. This guy, Adam Curtis, he's wrote and directed and voice-overed it, and he's sort of narrating you through these plethora of footage from all over the world, and it's quite a historical look at these ideas spreading, and it's kind of reaches the point where it gets to where we are today, and our sort of belief that perhaps we think machines help us become better as a society.
Well, become better as a society? Does it though? I mean, I think
no, exactly. Well, that's what he kind of questions quite a lot. Is that
I guess it depends on which way you kind of look at it. I mean, certainly these days it's very difficult to kind of communicate without the use of kind of modern technology and whatnot. But does it make our society better and more coherent? I don't know. That's a debate in itself. What do you think, Crofty, having seen some of it apparently?
What was the question?
Brilliant. Good start. Like you've caught a glimpse of this, right?
I think I've watched it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, even if you haven't, just from what Ross has just explained there, I mean, you being a computer scientist as well, very much into your technology and whatnot.
In fact, this documentary, these were made for you. You are the example.
That's the question. Let's ask you. Do you think modern technology, internet, smartphones, everything, iPads, the lot, or does it make our society more, coherent? Does it work?
Absolutely. Communication is the key to success, and through Twitter and Facebook and forums and so on and so forth on the internet, communication has never been better.
Really?
I don't know. I think maybe someone, not me. I'm trying to sort of remain completely unbiased here. But the next person might think that said modern technology might have hampered our communication skills and whatnot.
That is complete rubbish, quite frankly.
No,
I think no, because language is an evolutionary process. Okay, so if you're kind of talking about kind of like text speak, or you're talking about like people's inability to communicate with the outside world, you're forgetting that when people are in cyberspace, that is technically another world. It is kind of like a place where people can meet and talk.
Yeah,
and it allows people who have issues with like going outside or talking to others with social issues. It allows them to explore and help them develop these skills.
I get that, totally. I totally get that. But can I give you an example?
No.
A friend of mine told me a little story a while ago she's a school teacher, right, an English teacher, and she was marking a small girl, she must have been about 13, 14, quite an important piece of written work. I don't know what they do at 13, 14 these days, what used to be SATs, is it, or something? I don't know. Anyway, they're doing the equivalent, right? And she wrote this whole, 1,000-word essay or whatever it was, completely in text format. As and that's purely because, where they've been texting so much, that's had a massive effect and impact on how they think things should be written. I think we're kind of going slightly away from the TV series
this
here.
Is quite an important point, actually, because it just shows you that the inability of the education system at the moment can't keep up with modern day kind of standards. They can't keep up with the kids these days, and it's quite dinosaur in a way. I mean, they should get rid of exams. They should get rid of you should be able to take the internet in with you to an exam, because you use the internet on a daily basis. You've got it in your pocket.
How would that work, though?
I think this is pretty controversial.
Crofty's always controversial, isn't he?
Why should you have to take the internet in with you?
Because if I want to look something up, first thing I do is I look into Wikipedia and I find out about it.
Awesome, but that's not knowledge.
And exactly, also Wikipedia is a good example. That's not the best way to go for.
Because now we live in an age where we don't have to remember things because it's all based on the internet. So if we know, if we teach ourselves how to find things quickly and efficiently, that's more powerful and more useful than remembering stuff.
Yeah, but isn't it more of a powerful tool to have that knowledge in your brain as opposed to on a computer, which is not always...
No, I'd rather have it on a hard drive where I can just go, look, here it is, here's the reference, and it's linked to a million other sites, so this is more powerful than my brain.
Inadvertently, this is Crofty is the perfect example about what this director was talking about in these films. He's our generation, I think, in its entirety, because he sort of sums these amazing series up by saying that we compare ourselves a lot to machines, which I think Crofty did several times then when wanting to access information as and when.
Wow,
like a hard drive, and instantly the sort of
you are a hard drive.
He's a hard drive to beat. But no, he kind of gets to the point where it's the stage where if we picture ourselves as machines too much, there's a danger of removing responsibility from our actions.
This is really heavy stuff. I was not expecting this from.
That's true, Ross. I do feel removed from my responsibility.
Are you an exile or something from the modern world?
I'm no longer human.
Just before we go to a clip of this, Jono, what do you think of this kind of stuff? I mean, you being a filmmaker, you're heavily involved in modern technology as well. I mean, let's ask you, who do you side with, John?
Oh, you can't expect me to.
No, I do expect you to answer that question.
You expect me to answer that question. Again, it's going to be...
what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is it depends.
On?
It depends on many factors.
Like,
I don't know, is it really... For certain stuff, like you were saying, that maybe we do live in an age where it is just generally more efficient for us to look up stuff quickly and all that kind of stuff. You have to think stuff, because you come across all this kind of stuff you get in exams and all that kind of stuff, like the quadratic formula or something like that. What is that going to benefit you in real life if you remember it when you can just look it up, if you can use it? I think it's better that you learn how to use stuff as opposed to sort of just learning facts.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's just cut it there. We're going to go to a clip of this and we'll talk briefly more about that before we go on to some more Black Mages. But let's have a listen to this All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace.
And Fuller's ideas caught the imagination of a generation who had become disillusioned with politics. Between 1967 and 1971, over 500,000 Americans left the cities and set out to create thousands of experimental communities. The communes deliberately had no hierarchy of control or authority. Instead, the central idea was that everyone should see themselves as part of a system, a distributed network that could stabilize itself, just like the ecosystems in nature.
There you have it.
Yeah. He goes on to sort of explain that that's extremely problematic in that society and the world doesn't really operate in balanced systems like that, and being connected like that doesn't necessarily make an equilibrium. It sort of makes a change. Okay. You might stabilise for a while, but inevitably nature comes along and something chaotic happens, unpredictable.
I'd be so interested to hear your theory on how they could kind of work the internet into an exam state. I mean, I guess you can just put, blocks up on certain websites and whatnot, or maybe someone could develop an intranet.
No, that's removing the whole point of using internet. But
the internet is just, the scope of it is just so large. Yeah. How can you escape people just, what's the exam, the point of an exam, sorry, shut up. The point the point of an exam is to kind of learn knowledge and test yourself, but if you're just looking at copying and pasting things from a website and just looking it up real time, what's the point?
No, hang on a minute, you got that wrong. An exam is to demonstrate your knowledge in like a certain subject, okay? So if you go on the internet, okay, and you find all the knowledge that you want, so it's like, okay, I need to find out about thermodynamics, okay? You go to all the places about thermodynamics, but it's your job to then put all this
to apply that knowledge.
To apply that knowledge, yeah. And that's what exam is. It is about applying your knowledge. So if you can take it in a tablet with the internet on the tablet, okay, and then you can just go, right, thermodynamics, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I need to work out the stress of an airplane wing with the heat dynamics, yada, yada, yada.
Which I'll now do on my tablet.
And I can demonstrate that I can do it. So in a real-life situation...
Use a tablet.
So in a real-life situation, I go, here's the answer, and this is how we solve it.
This is an exam about using a tablet.
But let's get real, right?
This is real.
You're giving this power almost to kids from the age of, say...
How old are you, Matt?
I'm not telling you. But, from the age of maybe, let's say for argument's sake, hypothetically speaking, 11 to sort of 15, or 11 to 16, sorry, right? I don't think most kids would just think, they kind of concentrate on what they like. If they're doing an RE exam, they're not really into RE or geography or something, they'll just look up the answer. They're not going to remember that stuff. So what's the point?
That's because they're obviously they don't care about the subject. If it's RE, I mean, like...
But then they'll be looking up answers. I can see kids kind of walking out of exams and just getting straight A's and not really having tested themselves.
Well, that shows you a fault of the exam
system.
Shows
a fault of your theory.
No, the exam system.
You have to ask... How many times have you guys walked into an exam and you sort of read the question and you think to yourself, where on earth is this going to help me in the real world?
All the time. Exactly. I just don't get Crofty's theory.
So I just explained
the problem is, Matt, okay, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
I'm making debate, man. But let's ask, actually...
You're finding a losing battle, mate.
No, it's debate, man. There's no right or wrong here. We're talking about something that could potentially shape the foreseeable future of our next generation. But, Brian...
Yeah?
We forget that Brian Phoenix is here. Obviously, it's quite deep for you, right? But you having grown up... When were you born? 2002?
2000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're like super young, yeah? How do you think it's had an impact on you? I mean, you've grown up in a world where, technology has just been... it's just been there on the plate ever since day one. So, like, how do you think it's kind of moulded you as a person? Do you understand what I mean? Like, could you live without it?
The thing is, Matt, okay, that he hasn't lived in a world without technology. So
well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? It's just, how has it kind of affected you, having grown up in a world where you haven't known any different?
How would he know?
He might not be able to answer.
I'm just asking for his opinion. All right, okay. Well,
this is the most interesting movie reel section I think we've ever had.
It is. It's a debate, and we've been going on for blooming ages. So, okay, we're going to go on with another track from the Black Mages, which is a really, really cool track. Which I think I say every time, but I actually mean it is a really, really cool track. And this is The Skies Above from Final Fantasy X, composed by Nobuo Uematsu and the Black Mages. Enjoy, because it's simply amazing.